moguls give hits away to artists that turned around and returned fire and said, yo, you never did nothing for me. You
know, when Fat Joe says it, you think, oh, he's exaggerating. There's no way. Artists just hit a switch. They hit a switch. It's the weirdest thing to witness. It's the weirdest thing to experience, especially knowing exactly what you've done for that person.
What up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the new and improved Music Entrepreneur Club podcast. This is going to be a good one. This is where we talk about, obviously, music stuff, but I think we talk about stuff that you're not going to hear anywhere else. I think we talk about stuff that you're not going to hear on any other podcast. You're not going to hear it in a book or read it in a book. You're not going to read it on a blog, but we are three individuals that have some very real experiences in the music industry, and we share them very candidly. And today is going to be one of those episodes. But before we jump into it, want to let you know that this episode is brought to you by Too Lost. If you're looking for a premium distribution company, you're looking for how to release music, where to release music, you can release it for free on Too Lost. Go to toolost.com, use the code MEC, 3 months free music distribution.
Even Kanye's on it.
Yes. That is true. Even Kanye uses it. We definitely don't want to use him for marketing, but it is true. Payne, what's up with you? How you feeling?
I still got that COVID cough. I finally tested negative yesterday. So nice. That's a positive. That's a step in the right direction.
That's a win.
Congrats.
Erinn, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. I've been having a lot of early mornings, which is not characteristic of me, but I feel like my energy has come back. So it's like I just have stuff to do in the morning. I'm getting up, I'm cranking it out, I'm getting to bed earlier. So I feel good. I feel like I know the direction that I'm headed in and the direction my businesses are headed in. It's still a little ghetto on this side, but I'm encouraged, so, and I'm back home, but I just decided to move homes. So I'll probably be moving in 3 to 4 months, maybe 5. So yeah. But I'm glad to be home, but I'm only here for 6 days. So I'm like, I just need to move my home base to a city that I'm in more.
So that's Austin. You're moving to Austin?
I'm moving to Austin, indeed.
There it is. Well, I know you got a lot of things cooking in Austin, so that's dope. I'm excited about 2025. I got a lot of stuff going on to the point where I don't even know how I'm going to manage it all. We are going to do a Game from the Gods in LA. It's official. I talked to Ray Daniels and his team the other day during Grammy Week. So if you're in LA for Grammy Week, more information to come. But this one should be big. Obviously, we both know a lot of people in LA, so I'm looking forward to it. There'll be more details to come. If you don't get your ticket, Ali, as soon as they drop, I can't guarantee you'll get in the building because it won't just be ticket sales. Again, we know a lot of people in LA, so the room should be filled. But let's just jump in. Let's watch the video because as much as I'm excited as like the new things I'm getting into, hopefully I'm excited about the shit I'm leaving in 2024. So it'll all connect once we see this video from Fat Joe talking about why he doesn't work with artists anymore.
You sign new artists now, Joe?
Nah. I'm done.
I'll put out you and Rich. They both said you go back like, no.
Why? The headache? Or headaches. It's just a lot, right?
First of all, chances of an artist now or anytime being loyal are close to none. And so you take somebody. All right, so God gives you, I don't know if you know my story. I'm from the projects for real.
I know it.
Sleeping on the floor because we didn't have AC. It was too hot outside in the summer. I sleep on the floor. If I got through, I wipe my ass with newspaper. I'm from there, right? So to have a miracle, God say, you're blessed. We're going to give you a chance. Look, you're famous now. You got money. And you say, you know what? I'm going to bring some people with me. I'm going to bring some people out the hood with me, and I'm going to give them an opportunity. These guys got nothing. They have no way of getting to Def Jam anybody. You give them a chance, then they become millionaires, and immediately the cannons get like this. It goes from, yo, loyal, this for life, this, and the cannons go at you. And they, I'm a boss now. I don't want to be signed to you. I don't want to this. I'm not talking about my experience. I'm talking about everybody's experience in hip hop. I watch moguls give hits away to artists that turned around and returned fire and said, yo, you never did nothing for me. You ain't this and that. So it's like, yo, you think I'm dealing with that at this day and age? I'm not dealing with that. When you look at somebody you took from nothing and they become a millionaire and they popping and they talking crazy about you, betrayal.
And I'm definitely not trying to bring up old shit. Like, people that know my history kind of know what played out with Funk Volume and Hopsin. Fell out with Dizzy. But now I got a third legal issue with an artist that, pretty much handed an independent career. And it's just this, it's sad at the end of the day, because, you develop these relationships with people and you think it's genuine. I come from a place, I got real friends, you know what I'm saying? When I came into the music industry, my definition of friendship was the same. It seems like people have a different definition of like friendship in the music industry. And I didn't realize that. I'm all about family. If you go to my Instagram, I pretty much, even last night, I was at a Cal game. I got a bunch of people from college that I still stay connected to. These are decades of friendship. And I brought that kind of mentality in the music industry, and I got burned for it. I did a lot for a lot of people, and then specifically like the Funk Volume situation. And now there's an artist that came out of the blue with a lawsuit. I thought we were actually working out a deal to get him his masters back. And then I got hit with a lawsuit. Basically, somebody convinced him that he should sue me because he feels like I wasn't allowed to continue ownership of his masters once the Funk Volume situation dissolved. Like, I don't know how. This is a problem with lack of education. I think what Fat Joe's talking about, part of it comes from a lack of education. That's probably the biggest piece. Well, I don't know. Depending on the artist, like, it might just be some ego. Some of these people are just rotten to the core, and you just don't know who they really are until they get what they need from you. Any other reasons from Erinn, DJ, like why this happened? Like, outside of
I feel like some of it's got to be mental illness, and we just don't realize it yet. I've been in this situation, and the craziest part was, you go through that it's like a relationship. You go through a honeymoon period with an artist where you're the new person and you're the exciting person and you're a prospect for them. And so they treat you with deference and with respect, and they listen to you. And I remember going through that phase with a particular artist, and then having a friend that I knew for many, many years contact me and say, you really don't know what you're getting into. This is one of the most disrespectful people I've ever met in my life. Trust me, I know him. You don't know him like I know him. And I'm like, oh, I can't even picture that. I can't even imagine him being like that. And within, I don't know, like 6 months, 100%. And at that point, we had already signed the paperwork. So we had to hash that out, and it was ugly. It didn't make any sense. It came from nowhere, out of nowhere. When Fat Joe says it, you think, oh, he's exaggerating. There's no way. Artists just hit a switch. They hit a switch. It's the weirdest thing to witness. It's the weirdest thing to experience, especially knowing exactly what you've done for that person. Knowing you're putting money in that person's pocket. Knowing you are facilitating them living out their dream.
Yeah.
And then them somehow being angry with you. Oh, yeah, you only made me a few $1,000s. Fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm not your slave. Fuck you. Like, where does this come from? I would never talk to a person like this, even if they did do something messed up. You know what I mean? Like, what he says resonates.
Funk Volume was a platform that immediately handed a career. I mean, obviously, I built with Hop for years before it actually popped. But once it was a platform, it immediately handed a 10-plus independent music career to 2 other artists. right? Like almost overnight. Because of the trust that we built with our community, because of the introduction to the community. I mean, they're talented for sure. You have to have the talent to plug in. But it was a platform that handed a career, right? Like if I was to ask an artist today that wasn't making money from music, didn't have a career, and said, okay, you know, you got to make this project, but I promise you, like after you make this one project, you are going to be able to feed your family from music for the next 10 years. How much of that, like separate from, like the deal wasn't like this. I don't own everything. You know, it's still a profit sharing agreement. But how much of that one project would most artists be willing to give me?
70, 80, 90%. That's why artists sign the 1387 at record labels.
But so nobody would ask for the whole thing, but you'd be a dumbass if you wouldn't give me the whole thing. Like you'd be a dumbass if you didn't say, okay, I'll just give you this. If you promised me a career, an independent career where I can sell merch, meet and greets, other music for the next 10 years and feed my family. I've been struggling for these past 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years, not being able to get off the ground. I'll give this whole damn that for me.
Well, hold on. So you're from a business world. This is a part that I think all logic just goes out the window with a lot of people in the music business, a lot of creatives. And I can't explain it because if that's such a straightforward arrangement, hey, one project, give it to me, split ownership. I do everything you can't do, or you won't do, or you haven't figured out how to do, and I'll get this project off the ground. I mean, that's what my role was in my scenario. That's what your role was in Funk Volume. If any of those artists on Funk Volume could have done that for themselves, they would have done it for themselves. Yeah. If the artists that I work with could have done it for themselves, they would have done it for themselves, but they couldn't. And so we did it for them, and now they're mad at us. So at that exact juncture where you're working out, you're negotiating the deal, and you give them exactly what you say you're going to give them, somehow in their mind, that translates to unfairness. And I don't understand that. And that should be studied by psychologists, psychiatrists, and neuroscientists, all in conjunction with one another, because I can't wrap my head around how this happens. And I see it happen consistently. Artist after artist after artist, producer after producer. When we start working as creatives, when we start working with the business-minded people, somehow our logic just drains through our ears onto the floor. And what is it? Because it's precisely
not even logic, though, because they come up with an alternative narrative about how we're evil. And that's the crazy part to me. And this is like, Fat Joe talks about it's a switch. The switch happens and it's rapidly and it usually comes out of nowhere. But what if you ever get on the phone with them? Because a lot of times they won't talk to you, right? So you know there's something in the back of their head that they have to justify it with if they won't talk to you. But in the rare occasion that you actually get to talk to them, which to me has only happened, I think once. Yeah.
Yeah, then they're saying some wild shit.
One time out of like 8 or 9 artists that I managed directly, maybe 10, one time I've had a conversation, and the conversation started out with a laundry list of accusations. And then when we talked through them and let me say laundry, it was 6 things. This is how specific it is. 6 things that I had done across 3.5 years that they did not like. Granted, I'm like, why didn't you bring these up? But 6 things in 3.5 years, I'm like, I can tell you 6 things you did last week that pissed me the fuck off. But, we're not keeping score. I just do my job. So they told me 6 things. Then when we had the conversation, they were enlightened that each of those times it was in reaction to me trying to meet one of their needs that they had expressly expressed to me. And so I had pivoted and said, hey, okay, well, we'll try this. And they were like, well, I felt like you were trying to do this to me. And I moved everything over to make this happen for you. So that's that. But in a couple of other occasions, I've heard interviews, I've been doxxed, I've had fans tell me crazy things for 6, 7, 8, 2, 3 years. Well, 2 years max. Like I haven't dealt with what Dame has dealt with. But then I'm hearing all these crazy ass stories about me. And I'm like, if that were true, then why would they let me manage them and be their booking agent and represent them from an agency perspective? Like we were in bed and they chose to be in bed. And I disclosed to them that this is a conflict of interest, that my companies that I own represent you in these 3 ways, but I'm always forthcoming. Please give me proof of what I've done wrong. And then it's like, well, we didn't like that you said that. And I said, no. It's one thing not to like what I said, but y'all are telling me that I've stolen from you, that I've been fraudulent, that all of these things, when I have proof that y'all all actually owe me money and I have not come after you. I have proof that I never took royalties on things that were owed to me to take care of y'all. Like there's multiple levels of like, accountability, proof. They get receipts, they get invoiced. There's no shady shit on my side and I can prove it, but you have to deliver this crazy rhetoric. And I feel like that's something that I've always like, unfortunately resonated with Dame, is that he knows it. Cause sometimes I've told people this before. I'm like, no, they just make up these narratives. And people were like, do they? Is that real? That doesn't make sense. And I'm like, no, it's dead ass real. They have to make some crazy shit up because the thing is my name and my reputation holds a lot of weight and people know that I'm honest. So a lot of times what artists will do is try to say some crazy, shady shit. So it makes it seem like there's a reason to distance from me because it's really, you just lost your shit. It's okay if you don't want to keep working with me. That's fine. You don't have to, but making up this whole narrative. And that's what I feel like. It's like, you have to tell yourself this crazy lie to justify the bullshit that you're doing to another human who's cared about you. And then you're like, well, I'm on, like he said, I'm on boss. I built this. And it's like, I'm never going to take credit for anybody's career, but I will take credit for accelerating people beyond what they could have even believed that they were able to do in that time period. Because they would tell me that. They're like, I never saw this in my own head. I didn't think we could do this. I had no idea as an independent artist I could do this. I saw most of my artists go from 30 to 40K a year to multiple 6 figures. I built whole teams around them so they can keep their masters. So like, I know Dave's about to dive into a specific story, but it pisses me off because I have so much firsthand experience with it. I will never, and I mean never, get back into management unless God himself appears in front of me and tells me I have to, because the bullshit that I keep hearing people, honest, good, intelligent humans go through, it doesn't make sense. We can be business partners and we're going 50-50 on everything, or I'm going higher because of the value that I bring, or we're not doing it at all. It's crazy work. I will never get into management.
But the thing Dame's saying, okay, so what you proposed to those artists.
But I just want to make it clear, that's not what the deal was. I'm just saying in a scenario where most artists can't find traction today, complaining about Spotify and all these other things, like cutting through the noise, like the deal, I'll be transparent with what the deals were. And people have to understand that like the concept of a fair deal changes over time. So these deals were cut in 2011, 2012. So when Dizzy came on board, like, and these were profit sharing deals. This wasn't like funny major label recoupment math. This was, if I spend $10,000, the first $10,000 that comes in pays that off in its entirety, and then we split the profits. So even that, people are still, I mean, even a lot of the even here at Two Laws, we do major label recoupment math. People got to understand what that means before they sign deals. Most of the distribution companies will do it. But anyway, the deals, I think Dizzy's first album was supposed to be 30-70, 30 in the label's favor, 70 in his, and then it would go up.
Wait, his first album, he was in a 30-70 deal?
Yes, because I took Strange Music's contracts. I would look, because Travis let me see them, and I would just make it better, right? I made it better. Right, Jeremy.
30-70 for a brand new first time artist is beyond generous. Like,
wow, damn, you robbed him.
They were 50-50, and then they would degrade after every time they recouped, and it was same thing profit share. But that's wild.
No, I just want to make it clear. It was 30. It was 30 to him, and 70 to the label.
Oh, okay. No. That's super fair. I thought it was in reverse. Okay.
But Jaron started out 60-40, 40 to him, 60 to the label. And then every release, it would go until it was 50-50. So it went, Dizzy's went from 30-70 to 60-40, then 50-50. Again, these are profit sharing deals. These are cats that were not like had a big career as independent artists, no career essentially. So I just want to make it clear. But if I was to propose to an artist today, if the same situation played out, within a year you're touring, within a year you're selling merch, the whole night, like you're an actual independent artist. You would be a fool not to give shit. If I was an artist and I wasn't getting any traction, shit, you could have 2 albums if I can get on. You know what I mean? Like.
But that's what I'm saying, because the logic there is, do you want 40% of a thriving career, or do you want 100% of being dead in the water? And somehow in their brains, something shifts and they think
there anyways. That's how they see it. Oh, I would have done this anyways. You were just one of my options, not.
But if you can do it yourself, do it yourself. And if you can't, why? God, because my brain is short circuiting, because all I do when I'm online, I just inadvertently see posts from artists complaining that they're not getting traction. They're blaming fans, they're blaming gatekeeping, they're blaming everything. And then they always conclude that all they need is someone to believe in them. I just need someone. Someone sign me. I need a manager. I get the comments all the time saying, give me Dame's contact info. I want him to sign me. Give me Erinn's contact info. People are
but DMs be crazy delusional.
Yeah, because but you say, all 3 of us say we'd never manage another artist. But people are offering money. People have offered me money to manage them. People have offered.
Tell them to offer me some money.
People have said that. They said, how much does Erinn charge? How much does Dame charge? What are their management fees? And I ignore those. At first, I was just like, man, don't even put yourself in that position to get played like that. And plus, my people are telling you that they're not. There are other managers out there that are willing to manage, but also like you got to get some shit going first, so you don't find yourself in a situation where you're begging and potentially even paying someone just to talk to you about the possibility of managing you. Don't get into that. But people don't listen to me. The crazy thing is, though, people are swearing up and down, oh, manager, I need a manager. I need someone that can change my life. And then they find that person. Some of them find that person. They find themselves a Dame. And then next thing you know, it's fuck Dame in the shake weight. Dame robbed me. He gave me a 50-50 profit sharing deal. He's the devil. And now I'm controlling the narrative.
Hop had it. I mean, because he was an owner in the label and his deal started, I think, so this is a good example of what artists do, right? So obviously I put in 2 or 3 years of just free work. My opportunity cost was in the hundreds of thousands because I was making over $100,000 a year, at my last consulting gig. So that's what people don't realize too. It's like, I put tens of thousands into the business, actual dollars, but, I could have went back into the workforce and went back to a 6-figure career. Because I didn't, I lost out on a couple $100,000 during the time that people don't understand what an opportunity
and all the things you could have invested in with that money, the relationships, because it's not just the paycheck, it's everything that comes from that.
So for Hop's first album, the agreement was 50% to him, 50% to me. Like after that first album, he was signed to the label, and then it was like 50% to him, 50% to the label, and then he owned half the label. So essentially, after that first album, he got 75-25, essentially, right? But that first album, because I had put in so much work, he agreed to 50-50, 50 to him, 50 to me. Right. That's
actually decent. Most artists, I don't think, would even agree to that.
Hold on. The story continues. It don't end like that. You think it, like, artists love to change. Like, and I think even Joe Budden said it fairly recently. He said, I don't give a shit about contracts or agreements or something. Like,
He been saying that. That's him.
Yeah. So, obviously that the first project doesn't really get that much traction out the gate. It does well. He's got an audience, it does well, but it doesn't get that much traction. That album doesn't really start picking up until like a year later, like a year and a half later. And of course, once the money starts coming, like decent money, he wants to change the deal. He's looking at the money and he'd be like, oh, well, I did make that album, so, we need to renegotiate that. That's like saying, to me, this is an investment. This was an investment of my time. Again, the opportunity cost of hundreds of thousands of dollars that I put into trying to get this off the ground. Now we're finally getting moving. And now a few years down the line, you want to change the deal on something that not going forward, but something that we already agreed to. Like, I'm cool if, we agree on something, the contract's up, we renegotiate. That's completely fair. Like, going back on something that you've already agreed to is wild. But I let him do it. But just to keep the ship moving. He was basically like, oh, well, now I think you've earned enough. That's like buying Apple stock and say you buy it at $50 or whatever. And then, it goes to 200 and Apple's like, I know you made this investment, but we think you've earned enough. Right. So we're going to stop your profit here. Right. That doesn't happen. I mean, I know I'm from the business world, but like, the music industry still is business. Like, it is the business world. And these artists, they have the audacity to just, in their mind, whenever they want to flip the switch and be like, okay, you've earned enough. I want to change the deal that we've already agreed to is wild to me. And it's weird. I thought when we ran Funk Volume, it was going to be an example of like other artists can like build out their labels. Right. And it never happened. What was Joey Badass had a collective? What were they? I forget what his crew was called. You remember what Joey Badass was? He had like.
I forgot. I was about to say the ASAP, but that's the wrong crew. I forgot, but yeah.
Pro Era.
Pro Era. So Pro Era. I thought I love seeing what they were doing, that collective, and I don't know why that never panned out. Logic had the idea to start the Rat Pack, and he had an artist for a second. I can't think of anybody that actually like made it work. And it's because, in my opinion, again, I don't know the individual, these artists aren't learning.
Lil Wayne, Baby, I feel like.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like from the independent, like, you have Tech Nine and Travis, you had me and Hop. There were other crews that I was like, oh, this is dope. I don't know why Odd Future didn't continue to, I know individuals within Odd Future, did their thing, but it's so difficult to work with artists. And you're going to see this even more now that things have shifted, like, predominantly independent, and independent is kind of a cool thing to do, where the artist kind of has to manage the ship. You're going to see a lot of things just not come to fruition, but you're going to see a lot of turmoil, a lot of bad business, because these artists, some of them are rotten, some of them it's ego, a lot of it's a lack of education, mental illness, like Payne says. It could be a combination of the four, but people are moving out here weird. It's hella weird.
And I feel like it's a sad time, because considering that Downtown Music just got acquired by UMG, it's like indies and majors are going to be, I think, way more clearly delineated, because it's like you're going to be able to see a clear difference just because of what it takes, the amount of money that it takes to be in the machine. So you'll see a lot of niche audiences, like a lot of the smart independents are going to have a lot of niche audiences in clandestine places that you have no idea. Kind of like I use Murs. I've been using Murs as an example my entire career, because I remember when I first discovered him 2015 South by Southwest. His show was packed more than all the major label artists. And I was like, I've never heard of this guy. And then people were like, Murs may be a good example because he has a label. And then same with Jet Life, if you consider Currency's label. Now, none of his artists really blew up, but they're all kind of regionally famous and make a living off of kind of all the products and different things that they sell. But I think that delineation is going to be so apparent because everybody in front of us essentially is going to be backed by a label, I think within the next 2 to 3 years. And then everybody who's making a living off of a clandestine audience or like a niche audience approach is going to be like doing decent on their socials, but like living in their own reality. I think there's just going to be such a huge separation. And my thing is, if you could do it without us, then why doesn't it subsist and persist once we're gone? That's just my question. And there's no shade, but like some people it's evident within 5 to 6 months of me leaving, but most people within 2 to 3 years, it's like, oh, damn, they haven't really done much else. Because a lot of times managers, labels, whatever, you still see their hand on the projects because there's stuff that you're working on for so long. So 6, 8, 12 months after they depart, it's almost a non-noticeable difference. But after 2 to 3 years, when they're just kind of in the same cycle, one big thing that you can notice when managers and labels or other agents, whatever, leave is the creativity. Because artists spend so much time focusing on making their music. A lot of times, even if they have the creativity to harness other endeavors, they don't have the bandwidth, and then they don't have creative people around them with bandwidth. So you can replace me as a manager. You can't replace my mind. You can't replace my intellect, and you can't replace my resources. You also can't replace the type of strategy that I've built over damn near 15 years in this industry, right? So it's like, if you look at somebody like Dame, the resources, the creativity, the thought process, you look at Payne, being able to like manufacture a sound and develop, there's so many things that you don't realize are missing. It's like, yeah, you can sub us in and out. You can bring in your wife, your sister, your cousin, your brother, whatever, your homie who's I'm still getting, as of yesterday, there's this one artist, the one who sabotaged my Puma deal. You know, I still finished the Puma deal, but never worked with them again. I'm still getting emails from people like, hey, he's booked for this thing. We haven't heard back from him. Or like, hey, we're trying to get this paperwork signed. I'm like, I ain't worked with bro in 4 years, y'all. Please stop, or 3 years. Please stop reaching out to me. Like I haven't, do you know who his team is? No clue. I think he's changed them 3 times. Like last I heard, he was texting a friend of mine who I was throwing an event with, like, congrats on still doing events, bro. Like I wish I could get out there and do events. Like sad. I was selling out dates. Nobody knew who this kid was. We sold out 12 of his 15 tour dates in 2021. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, that's not that long ago, big dog. Like for you to now be like trying to figure out how to get on the road, trying to figure out how to, it's just, and I'm not even trying to shit on people, but there's like people that I'm watching right now still trying to produce my ideas at maybe 80%. And like, I know where we would have been this year, next year, 2 years from now. So it's like, I'm glad that y'all still have that nest egg of an idea that I gave you, but it's you're going out sad because why can't you keep the same energy? Why aren't you excelling? Because when you started working with me, everybody saw a clear acceleration. You maintaining may look good to the people who aren't paying attention, but I'm watching it. You're just maintaining. That can only last for so long.
I ain't watching it, and I ain't gonna go down that route. I'm not following these cats. I unfollow them. I'm not even following you. I'm watching it, meaning that if you haven't popped up on my timeline when I don't follow you, then you're not making big shit happen. And I'm telling you that because I know you're choking on my name right now. I know in every area that you're looking, you're seeing me somewhere. So That's what I'm saying. Like in reverse, if you're choking on my name and you haven't even, people are like, what about da-da-da? I'm like, oh, I don't know. I haven't thought about them. That's why I know that they're not doing anything. I don't even need, I know what's happening. Like, and I think it's sad I think it's sad at the end of the day. I don't want to see it. I cared for these cats a lot. Like I cared for them like I care about like all of my real friends. I was there for them. I don't want to see them in a bad space, if I was following their careers and it was down bad, like it would make me feel, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. I'm glad this is happening at the end of 2024 because once I get this shit out of my life, I don't want any of them cats to hit me. I don't want to see them. I got so much other shit I got going on, so much positive stuff. So I think it was meant to happen at the end of the year because 2025, you know, we changing shit up. Like it's just just much more positive. Like just great things going on. So maybe this was supposed to happen at this time. You know, hopefully I can close the door on this chapter. And I just don't want to see or talk to anybody from that era. Every once in a while, even this past week, still fans, you know, will chatter, jump into the comment section or send me DMs and talk crazy. But I mean, it is what it is. I just want to close this chapter and I want to encourage other artists to just learn the business, man. Learn the business, treat people right. If you agree to something, stick through it. If you want to renegotiate once the contract is over, that's fair. That's super fair. That's what happens in the NBA, anywhere. Like if you do good business, you excel, you go back to the table, you should get more money or you should find another partner. You know, figure out what works for you, but stop doing bad business, man. This shit is terrible. And communicate. Why is it so common that when there's an issue, like you can't even talk to these people? Like they go ghost. That happens all the time, and I see it happen with other people. Before we jump to the other topic, why the fuck is that? Why people can't just talk?
Because you know you're a house of lies. Do you know what I'm saying? That's what it is. And that's the part that gets me because it's like, I'm so big about accepting and not even accepting, taking accountability. So if there's a real issue, let's have a conversation. So you not wanting to have a conversation is proof positive. To me, one, you don't want this truth, but two, you don't want to own your shit either. You just want to be able to prop yourself up with these lies. You want to talk to your people. Y'all want to be in this echo chamber of nonsense. I don't rock with it. I do want to commend the last artist that I ended with at the really top of this year, end of last year. And they're the only person who ever honored the sunset clause and has kept it going. Like I'm still getting paid and I'm grateful because I put so much work, time, and effort. And at first it was a little bit of friction and I was like, this is what I want. And they were like, hell no, basically. And then they came back literally within hours and they're like, I'm not even going to fight you on this. Like, and I was like, thank you. But even getting to that point, I had to really let go of having a lot of conversations because there was a lot of accusations coming my way. And I'm like, this doesn't represent me at all. And if it did, then why would you still be working with me? You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the thing. If you look at it, a lot of the times they don't talk to you is because whatever they want to accuse you of doesn't make sense because they wouldn't be working with you if it was true. You know what I'm saying? Like all like you have no integrity. You stole from me. Even with what you're going through right now with the lawsuit. I'm like, bro knows that this shit is delusional because if it was real, then why was I drinking with him and you last year? Like, why was we kicking it in Atlanta? Like, y'all cool. Like, bro, like, stop the cap. Like, that shit made me mad because I'm like, he like, oh yeah, me and Dame cool. Like, nah, I never really understood why these other guys had an issue. Homeboy was saying this to me last year. What? Crazy.
It's wild. I just want people to one, I'm not managing nobody. Like, no, what you get from me or us is on this platform. You get our candid experience. You get education, and hopefully that helps you in your journey. I do the same thing on the Two Lost platform and Game from the Gods. That's the extent of it. You know, if I'm cool with you, it might be a compilation project. We need a lot of music for like Ja's up and coming web series and shows and things. So I work with artists in that capacity, and I'm constantly throwing lobs and assists and, you know, giving opportunities. But there's no, I ain't gonna say there's no, because I might at one point like meet somebody and I'm like, oh, feel like it's different, But yeah, artists, man, step your shit up. This shit is ridiculous. Start just being good human beings. Anyway, we can go to the next time. I know we took most of the hour talking about this bullshit, but I promise you I'm leaving it in 2024. 2025 is all positive energy. If you hit me with anything negative, I'm not communicating with you.
Well,
bigger checks for less effort by not working directly with artists and working just with the brands. That's what I feel like we all just moving into, just the bigger checks with less effort.
I don't know about I'm not feeling the less effort part yet, but I hope we get to that point.
Well, let's
part of it is less effort because you know on the back end it's not going to bring you down.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. For me, I always used to negotiate deals and I didn't think about it consciously, but my therapist helped me identify, like in the back of my head, I knew this shit was going to go south. That's why I could never like lean all the way into certain things because I just knew it was almost like I was self-sabotaging myself by leaning in, you know? So like, I don't know. I feel like hopefully less effort sooner than later, but I think you about to have a breakout year, Dave. I don't even know all this shit you got going on, but like you said, I think your energy is right. I think you've put enough effort in and you're not trying to help people who don't want to help you. It's no longer, oh, you're talented, so I want to help you. It's like this shit got to be mutually beneficial and apparently mutually beneficial, you know?
Well, I mean, I think, you know, the dynamic between, or the relationship with me and Big Ja is totally different. You know what I mean? I've known Ja since 1999. We're locked in. You know, he was in my wedding. If I ever fall out with Ja, that means I have left the entertainment industry and I just have no hope for the world. Because Ja is the complete opposite of people I worked with in the past. Like, he communicates well. We show appreciation for each other. You know, it's still trouble getting things from him now and again, you know, in terms of social media and some of the things we need to do. But the relationship is just so much healthier. You know, I don't have no problems getting hold of him. We're always talking. We're always meeting. It's just a complete different energy. And I love it and I appreciate him. And like I said, he was the first person that I heard say thank you ever. And I never even realized that those words would even impact me that much. I'm just kind of a cat that kind of keeps things moving. You know what I'm saying? When he said it, I realized I'd never heard it before from somebody that I worked with. You know, I think a lot of the artists think I should be thanking them for them allowing the opportunity for me to support them. They think of it the other way. You know, as a matter of fact, on Hop's first album, for the first two albums, I wrote the thank yous on his album because he didn't even know who to thank. He was like, hey, Dame, can you write these for me? Because he didn't really know the people that were supporting the business. So that's me I'm writing the thank yous on your album.
What's crazy is I've definitely written the thank yous for albums before a couple times. They wrote like an initial sentence and then we're like, oh yeah, make sure you include yourself. But I don't know everybody I should thank. I don't leave everybody out. No, you're a selfish bastard. That's what it is. And you don't want to think about this because you don't even really know. You don't even have no gratitude in your heart. You're talking about, I want to thank my girl for supporting me. Get out of here. What?
Like, not only have you not thanked me for anything before, even though you've been on the phone crying before we got trapped, like literally
about this same girl.
No, not even about. No, so that's a totally separate thing. Like, Hop called me one time crying because he didn't feel like we were going to make it, and I had to talk him. Like, look, man, everything's showing good traction. We're going to get through this. Like. But you completely forget about those days. You forget about the days that my family shows up at the hospital for you. You know, like real shit, like real life experience stuff. All that goes out the window, you know, a couple of years down the line, you get amnesia and, you know, but yeah, never heard a thank you. I wrote the thank you. It's like, what are we doing? Anyway, Payne, we really going over time now. Let's hop into your topic.
Yeah, so this is a continuation of last week and kind of a bridge to next week because we want to expand on this survey of Rob Abelo's where he polls artists in the music business and they give him, what was it, their top reasons why the music business sucks or something like that.
I don't think it was just artists either. I think it was
just the whole industry.
Lots of folks. I think
it was like readers from his blog, Twitter, Instagram, all that. Because it was a ton of people he surveyed.
So yeah, I want to. I had some interesting things happen, and I know in response, this is a preview of next week. We want to counter that list with our own list of positives in the music business. What's good about the music business these days? And I'll preview one, and it has to do with just all the technology. And I think it's bittersweet, but I'm going to choose to see the glass half full this time. All the technology we have available, all the analytics, even just Spotify streaming numbers and followers and things like that. They serve as metrics. And to me, this technology should keep people more honest in the sense that, and unfortunately it doesn't, but it serves as a safeguard for the person who might be a victim of their dishonesty. For example, back before all these numbers, back before social media, I'd be out somewhere and some rapper would basically just assault me with lies and say, I'm working with this. Rick Ross is about to sign me. I'm doing this. And they would just word vomit at me. And then the conclusion was, fuck with me, give me some beats, send me some beats. And it was always for free because I'm on the verge. I'm about to blow up. I would hear it a million times. Nowadays, I can just say, okay, what's your name? I'm going to look you up right now. Oh, but I don't really be streaming. Okay, come on, man. Now I can give you that look. In real time, we can debunk whatever lies you're trying to pull. However, the problem is we don't use a lot of this technology to our advantage. And it's almost as though our delusions are more powerful than the technology. I think it helps those of us who have overcome that. One example is, and I sent you this screenshot because this was just absolutely wild to me. I've made so many videos about scams. We've made so many videos about scams. And I think we all say this. If someone inboxes you out of nowhere to charge you for an opportunity that you didn't ask for, it's a scam. If someone inboxes you, period, asking you for money, it's a scam. Even if it's a service where oh, maybe I do need graphic design. Maybe I do need the high quality logo. Don't go with the person that's jumping in your inbox telling you the price and the cash tag before you even discuss specifics. Somebody reaching out to you saying that they will get you this is for producers, they'll get you a beat placement for a fee is one of the oldest scams in the book when it comes to the producer community. I've said this in at least 10 videos. I've never sugarcoated it. I've called it a scam 100%. I think all of us have every single time. And yet I get messages regularly, and this one stood out, but they're all pretty much the same. They're all basically people wanting this to be true. They want it to be true. I don't know why, but it's that delusion. This person reached out to me. They said, hey, I had this producer reach out to me. They spelled their name wrong, saying that he found a beat on YouTube. He really liked it. That's the formula. We broke down this formula before. Every email within this scam is the same. Hey, yo, what up? I found this beat on YouTube. It's so hot. I want to work with you. And they name the beat. It's just an easy template that the scammers use. The catch is there's a placement fee of $150. From your videos, I know it's 90% fake. Where in my videos did I ever say anything other than that it's 100% fake? I've never said 90% fake. I've never used... Anyway, in my head, it's it's only 150. Should I just give it to them and see what happens, knowing it's probably a scam? What the fuck? You want to be scammed? So if something is 90% a scam, to me, it's 100%. I've always said 100%. If it's 90% to you, why the fuck would you give up? If there's a 90% chance that this gun is loaded, I'm not going to point it at my own head and pull the trigger. Are you? This says it all. We have every resource available to us, and yet we make the wrong decision. So to me, that's what's wrong with the music business. But it has to do with I don't know, common sense. Is common sense less common in the music business? Because you can Google that right now and look at this. This is from a year ago. The exact same format. The same price, everything. All you have to do is Google it. This is what I mean about resources. You can find every resource you want almost instantaneously on the internet when it comes to the music business. And this is something, and thank God, this guy that posted in Reddit saying, hey, someone is I mean, it's damn near the same language as the DM I got, but that DM was from last week, and this is from a year ago. $150 to get on the Playboi Carti album, and everyone's saying it's a scam. 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 Of course, if they're asking for money, it's a scam. Interesting, huh? And the OP says, okay, cool, I believe you, because they use their resources. What's stopping the rest of us?
I feel like you can't even call it common sense because it's willful ignorance.
Yeah.
It's like, and this is just a conjecture for me. I'm not saying definitively. I feel like even them DMing you to ask that is almost them trying to position themselves as somebody with traction to make them more enticing to you. And the reason I say that is them asking you that is just putting them in closer proximity with you. Because then it's like, if you say no, but hey, bro, since I feel bad, let's work. Even though you essentially give him that, you're like, you could collaborate with me for less than $150 because they can get a beat from you, and now they have a DJ.
And that's a guarantee. I'm not saying, let's play. I'm saying, send me that 150. We'll make a beat right now. Literally. And using my proven resources, I will sell it on my end.
Yeah.
So if nothing else, you get the beat. You send them $150, you get nothing but blocked. Because they got you already.
Collab. So it was like, I felt like it almost, I don't know what the answer ended up being. I felt
nothing. He left me on scene.
Facts.
It was bullshit.
He doesn't even want to spend the money because it's like because to me, it's like, yo, you have placement after placement. He could have just like you said, collabed with you. But I feel like it was almost like this thing that's like, let me ask him this dumbass question. Hopefully he sees me and he's like, yo, bro, don't spend the money. I got you. Fam, pull up to the studio tomorrow with me. Like, that's what I felt like he wanted the outcome to be. Because it's like, there's no way, one, that you say from your videos, meaning multiple videos that you've watched, that he is, like you said, assessed that it'll be 90% a scam. No, it's 100% a scam.
And I mean in my videos too. I say, if you think this is anything but a scam, you're a moron.
All of our videos were just like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. I felt like even him wanting to, if he genuinely wanted to lean into it, it was more of a, just so he could tell his bros, like, yeah, bro, I just sent a beat off to Future. Right? Because it doesn't even say land the placement. He said the guy wants to send a beat to Future. Let me tell y'all now, I sent beats to Roddy Ricch, Metro Boomin, G-Eazy. I'm a manager. I'm not paying. I sent beats to countless A&Rs directly to the artists, directly to managers who request Black. I could probably name hundreds of people who have hits. Sending a beat, though, I have zero placements with those folks. Now, we've landed placements for
Put it in your bio, though. Have sent beats to Black. Have sent.
That's what I'm saying.
Not?
It's like, what is sending a beat? That's like sending an email, if that. Like, it doesn't even matter if they directly request it. So I feel like the willful ignorance in this is just for the sake of him positioning himself as a credible producer, maybe. I don't know. It's just a weird kind of pump fake because there's no real thing that's going to come from it. Like, if you have a real question or you really want to be in proximity to somebody, offer some sort of value or something intellectual or beneficial. Like a compliment to your DM would have gone further. Maybe not, because he got some clout off of this. He got a dumbass segment on our show because he had a dumbass question. But I'm just like, what? I don't understand what the desired outcome is here.
You could book a consultation with one of us for that. Just tying it back to our initial conversation, it's just interesting to juxtapose like people in the beginning of their careers versus like what they morph into, like once they get into if they're, for the few that are able to achieve some success. I mean, if you have a mindset like this now, it's going to be really hard to actually ever see some success. But, the willingness and what people are willing to do in the early days, and then, they get on and people help them, and then it's interesting. But take that 150. You could just tipping this podcast would be a much greater use of that money. Anything would be a better use of that.
I just wanted to point out something positive, which is the technology. Obviously, I know it's a scam, but if I were him, I would have Googled it. I would have gone on Reddit. I would have thought to myself, Reddit is a great resource for investigation. Let me see what they got. And there it is in plain English. Verbatim, the same scam. People are telling you exactly what it is. And those resources are everywhere. People can't... This technology really helps keep people honest nowadays. For all the bad, this is a very good part of that.
Yeah, it ain't working though. People.
It keep people honest, but it's like, again, going back to original scams, it's like, if you have a brain, that's where the common sense comes in. Yeah. You'll know something is a scam. Like my mom was called me the other day. She was like, yo, these scams are getting more sophisticated. She was like, I got a call from Amazon saying that like essentially like her cards had been breached or whatever. But Amazon does call a lot more now, which is weird. And my parents live in like a gated community. So sometimes if they use a contractor, then the contractors a lot of times don't get the code. So instead of the Amazon people, do you know what I'm saying? It's a whole thing. So that she's telling me that he's walking her through this thing and she verifies a couple things, but never gives any information. Mm-hmm. So then the guy goes, you have 3 cards on your Amazon account, right? And my mom was like, and then she hangs up. But she was like, there was no indicators because he still hadn't asked for more of her like actual information. But she was like, why would Amazon check how many cards I have on my account? Right. So then, you know what I'm saying? But that's just like common sense plugged in. So I feel like, yes, you can Google these things, but I also feel like if you are not desperate, that's the thing. People's desperation is waging war on them. Yeah. Because they're desperate and not even for real things. You're desperate for clout. Do you know what I'm saying? That's all it is. It's clout because there's no benefit to this. If your record is being shopped to future, the likelihood of this shit landing, even if it lands, clout is not, that's what it is. Folks are so desperate for clout and significance that they're willing to wager real hard-earned cash against that clout. Again, not really willing to work with you, Payne, not willing to respond to this DM. I've had multiple people DM me. You're saying they offer you money in the DMs, but for me, they'll DM me and they'll be like, yo, I just need a shot. And I'm like, hey, big dog, I have hundreds of hours of free content on the internet. You could just Google me, right? And I don't say Google me in a rude way, but you dead ass could Google me. Just on this podcast, hundreds of hours. But interviews, panels, workshops, whatever, ebooks, all sorts of things that other people have paid me to do to put on the internet, you could just look at those and know that this is not the mechanism or the methodology to DM me. But you haven't done any due diligence, but you want me to now take my work, all these different things. You know what I'm saying? But instead of hearing that and being like, you're right, let me do what it takes to be in your good graces, people lose their shit because they want the affiliation. They want to say, oh, I'm working with Erinn Knight or I'm working with Dame or Payne took me under his wings after I almost got scammed by Future. They don't want to say,
scammed by Future.
It takes money to make money. And that's another thing. He may just like run with this, like, oh, I got scammed by Future. That could be a whole nother thing too, that they prop themselves up on.
I hate that's true. Yeah.
Greatness. You know what I'm saying? It's like, they don't really want to work for it because if you did, instead of all of these dumbass situations that we keep encountering with people or all of the comments that are like, you guys are just gatekeeping or whatever. It's not a lot, but it's enough to be like, damn, you could have spent that 5 minutes complimenting us and maybe that would have gotten you more. You know what I'm saying? Like there's people who have directly commented very specific things that I've said in this podcast that have led to jobs, opportunities, whatever, because I'm like, oh, like you seem like a dope person, whatever. You keep and I'm not saying I need more compliments. I'm not fishing for that. I don't want the bullshit. I can tell when people are being genuine. But you do that a few times over, I check you out. I notice you're in a city that I'm about to come to. Oh, pull up at this event. You meet somebody. I could tell 50 stories of that happening since I've been on this podcast. So I just think people just want clout. And it's like, if you're really looking for traction, if you're really looking to make a difference in your life, you know, hold yourself accountable. Stop the bullshit. In 2024, you can stop the bullshit. You have the power. Stop the bullshit and lean into actually being a great human and do your job.
I mean, I know we're running short on time. This will be like my last comment of the podcast, most likely. But I don't think people understand what they're asking for when they say they just need a shot. Like they don't know what that means on my end, because like I don't have the power to just like put you on. Like if I decide to work with somebody, it's a significant amount of my time. Like I don't just have the ability to move a few things and like put you in a position to win. Like it's a lot of time, energy that you're ultimately requesting. And I really don't think people understand that. I think people just think that, oh, I can move a few things around and then boom, I'm on. Like I've been working with Ja for years now, you know, every day working on something, you know, so that's ultimately, at least where I'm at and how I can service creators. Like that's what you're asking from me. That's not a little thing. And that's why I say no, because it's just too much of a risk at this point in my life, now that I'm older, and hopefully a little smarter.
Well, let me end on this, because I think this is interesting, just to extend what I was saying before, because one of the bad things about the music business was that it's too saturated. And just like clockwork, producer culture has this video of this clip of Taz Taylor from YouTube.
You can't be afraid of saturation. If you're good, you're always going to stand out. If you have a brand, you're always going to stand out. Like take people that play Fortnite, for instance. Like
I don't know if I need to really extend it, because what he said at first is just kind of what he said. And these are things that you guys have said on this podcast too, especially you, Dame. You said, you know, saturation doesn't matter. All these fears of future technologies replacing, especially producers, don't matter as long as the producers have a strong brand. And Taz Taylor is obviously a producer. You know, beyond that, he's a label owner, et cetera. But I think what's incredibly interesting is when you have someone giving you these truisms, this wisdom and this motivation, you inevitably have the pushback. And so this gentleman here says, that's my problem. I'm very talented and I know a lot about music, but hate the content bullshit. And as you can see, you see that, right?
Yeah.
No post. They have nothing. This guy says it's hard to be different when everyone is doing the same thing. That blows my mind, because it sounds like what he's saying is the opposite of what he's right. If everyone's doing the same thing, it should be easy to just do something other than what they're doing, right? And you click there, and unfortunately, again, for him, they are living by these misconceptions. One post, listen to my beats. Let's say I want to buy his beats right now. I click.
The best producer. Did you see that byline? It says the best producer.
I mean, he might be great. The issue is I have no idea, because he's making it incredibly hard.
You're not great at, he clearly doesn't believe it. Because if you believed it, you'd be out here doing what you do, Payne. Like, that's what I'm telling you. I had somebody have this conversation with me earlier, like last week. I was in Austin. This guy was like, man, I'm trying to get into private label clothing. This dude works at Meta, like genius. I'm trying to get into private label stuff, but everybody has a clothing brand. And I was like, everybody ain't you. Like, I never look at the market like, damn, there's a lot of people. I just started a media company. I don't give a fuck how many media companies are out there, because nobody's going to do it like me. Nobody has my insight, my intellect. Nobody's going to think like I do. And I don't think anything is crowded, because I'm a salmon swimming upstream. So it's like, it may be crowded going downstream, but I'm naturally doing something that's harder than most people. So it's going to look different. So I just feel like that's just an easy way for you to pump fake yourself. That's what I'm saying. Stop the bullshit. It's into 2024. Commit to holding yourself accountable. As I say, the ball is always in your court. Like, if your life is fucked up, it's because you chose it to be. Like, you have to accept responsibility regardless of what happened to you, what's gone on in your life. Accept responsibility. Like, saturation doesn't matter. Like, go do the thing.
Yeah. Well, we got to close this out because I got to run my meeting in a couple of minutes. But a great discussion. Definitely want to hear what people think about it. Put your comments below. Let us know what experiences you have had, both good and bad. But once again, this episode brought to you by 2 Loss. Get 3 months of free music distribution just using the code MEC. Lots of exciting stuff happening next year for all 3 of us. And then, for 2 Loss, we're starting. We're going to start building a Reddit community. Again, we have Game from the Gods in for Grammy. We're actually going to have a number of events going on for Grammy Week. So if you're in LA, make sure you tap in. We got an R&B compilation project that should start to drop in February. Going to be doing some influencer marketing. So if you want to tap in with us, if you're an influencer or just want to support, earn a little bread by promoting 2 Lost, that there's going to be just a lot of opportunities in 2025. So let's get to it. Let's let this be the last kind of negative. Today was kind of negative, but I'm going through some shit and it just was on my mind. So I needed to vent, but I'm bringing much more positive energy into 2025. We will record next week, but we got to figure out a new time because next Wednesday is Christmas. So anyway,
I'm still down to record.
Appreciate y'all tapping in. We'll see you next week. This is the MEC. Peace.